Happy Friday, guys. Welcome into the McInnis Pick Show. Andrew here. I've got Jeff Dawson joining me in a few moments, but it's not just Friday. It's the day we hope to go on an 8-0 CFL run. We haven't gone on an 8-0 run in a few years. A few years ago, we actually started the season off on an 8-0 run, but 7-0 passed last night. Did lean Red Blacks, but also lean the under. So I would have went 1-1 with those. Happy with the pass. We're here today and ready to cash this big ticket. We have a great deal, though, and I think you guys will want to jump on it if you're interested in the 5%. You get 7 days for the price of 3 days. So a 5% play is $35 today. You're going to get 7 days, all sports, all plays for $69. So we're on a great run in the MLB as well. I believe it's 4 or 5 straight winners in that. Cashed a 1% minus 1.5 on the Phillies yesterday. Don't really like being on minus 1.5s when you're laying money there. Not plus money. I was laying chalk there, but they cashed, put up a ton of runs on the board. And we've got somebody else that's been on a really good run for not just a few weeks, for quite some time. We're going to have Jeff joining us. We're going to talk CFL. We're going to talk MLB, maybe a little bit of NFLX. And we're going to be talking some team totals. So let's bring in Jeff. Let's have a good show here, guys, and let's try and make some money. Jeffrey, how are you?
I'm doing great, Andrew. Happy Friday. How are you, sir?
Happy Friday. I'm in a good mood. I'm kind of happy I passed yesterday's CFL game. It was dog or pass as far as the side is concerned, but as the day approached, I kind of liked the under, and pretty much from the second that game started, it was not going to go under. So it's always a good feeling.
I circled back to our show on Monday. Our eyes were not wrong. It was Ottawa or nothing. Again, that Calgary team that, excuse my French here, likes to play a little grab ass, hang around. And if you let them hang around long enough, they're going to come back and bite you. Well, Ottawa, team total 23.5 over. I think on our show, it was actually less than that. So again, I too stayed away. Our one play last night was Philadelphia Eagles team total under 16.5 in the NFLX. Did like Ottawa, did like them, as we said on the show, to sprinkle a little money on the outright as well. I like their team total over, but that's in the past. We got a full schedule, and yes, on an absolute heater, MLB 13-1 our last 14
Wow.
games. As you said, we are the team total guys. So there have been some first fives, there have been a few sides here and there, but for the most part, team totals 33, 11, and 2 in our last 46 games. Just a run second to none. It was funny on our Facebook timeline. You get those anniversaries, and 6 years ago there was a big anniversary. This team is hot with all the fire. So I guess 6 years ago, Andrew, we were on a run as well. So glad to
That's
be
awesome.
here. The weekend is here.
The weekend is here. That is an awesome run. Awesome run. And I got to give you credit, Jeff, because you're as classy as it gets when it comes to social media. I would argue you don't brag about yourself enough. So anybody watching this, whether it's on X or YouTube, check out Jeff. And if you don't want to buy the picks, join the subscription, join the gym membership cost, just watch the shows. Jeff's doing all kinds of shows every single day. So you can definitely get some picks there. And I appreciate you bringing up that Eagles-Patriots game. Huge hit by you. I'm jealous because I had the collapse. I did have the Patriots in that one. I told myself I'm going to bet the under in every Patriots game that goes on in the next 365 days. But I love the minus 2.5 there yesterday, and it looked great until it didn't. So I did officially go 1-1 yesterday. I want to mention that. As much as it's been a great run, and I just checked it out, the baseball run is 5-1. That's the baseball run. But let's start with CFL. We got a game tonight. I got some props I'm going to give out. Obviously, my 5% play is in that game tonight, so I want to get your thoughts. I will have some props to go over. We'll touch on the MLB board. We'll touch on CFL throughout the weekend and see if we can find a winner or two in NFLX over the weekend as well, Jeff. But this one's kind of interesting to me because we've seen some movement up and down. And I'll say this before I go to you. I find it very interesting that the CFL, they're so late to drop news. Like, we all know Trevor Harris is starting for days. And then Wednesday, some huge graphic gets created by the CFL graphic department. Coming, breaking news, this guy is healthy. So I found it weird. They went from +2, 2.5, back down to pick, and then back up to 2 again after the guys were announced healthy. What are you seeing here in this game? Under, over, certain side plays? What do you think?
I'm going to pull up the other spreadsheet here to get a little more information. Going back to Monday to where I am today, unfortunately, my mind hasn't changed in regards to. I think if I'm going to play and release this, that the Saskatchewan is the side here for me. Now I know Montreal's the team to beat with the BC edition and Nathan Rourke. Hats off to you. We talked about it last week. Bring him back home. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
What are we waiting for? And so we'll see. That's exactly what BC needed, of course, here. But I don't know. I been very successful. We have cashed a lot of tickets and been on the right side of this Montreal team. I think I'd actually respect them more at -3.5. I think the line was set at 2.5, hoping that the public would do the same thing. Maybe push it to 3 or 3.5 here. Team totals right now: Montreal over 26.5, -120. Saskatchewan over 23.5, -125. And that is at DraftKings. I'm seeing a 2.5, -110, and a 51 at Circa. Now, I would get a little tricky and coy here, which we do a lot more in college and in the NFL once the season starts here. A 2.5, if I like the dog, I'll actually take it to the -130 and get the 3.5 in case it lands on 3. Still sprinkling beer and pizza money on Saskatchewan here. I'm kind of torn here, Andrew, in this regards. I think if Montreal wins and plays their game, Saskatchewan doesn't get to 24. And so I'm not running to that window to lay the -125 at 23.5. I've noticed a lot on game day, the team totals doing a lot of bob and weaving. So I'd feel more comfortable with Saskatchewan, believe it or not, at 24.5 at plus money than running to the window at 23.5 at -125 currently.
Do you think that I know everybody always says there's not a ton of money coming in on the CFL, right? That's what every bookmaker would say. They could care less about CFL damage that they're going to get on any given day. But, I mean, in the NFL especially, the public aren't betting on Wednesdays for Sunday's game, right? They're not
Correct.
betting Monday morning. They're not even thinking about, they're more pissed off about their Sunday losses they had and trying to make it back Monday night. So it seems to me, and I could be off on this, but it seems to me I've seen a lot of times this year in the CFL, Jeff, where the dogs take money during the week, and on game day, the favorites take money. It seems like. So public can move lines, right? Especially in a sport like CFL, where it's not getting that much money. It seems to me like every single time on game day, the Elks, I guess, have been dogs and they've gotten money a lot this season on game day. But it does seem to me a lot of the time that, the Sharps are coming in during the week, and then there's been a lot of players coming in on game day.
I want to say hats off to you because I'm going to take everyone that's watching and listening to a Saturday and Sunday regular season NFL and college. So Saturday, you watch game day from 10 a.m. to noon, and you watch the numbers when these guys, Chris Feliker it used to be, now Pat McAfee, when these guys start giving out plays, it's like a slot machine. It's Christmas. It's fireworks. The lines are jumping. Everyone's like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. They got to run to the and it's hilarious. Okay, so you play all the games all day and night in college football. Everyone wakes up all big-headed, hungover, and like, poop. I got to get my money back. And so now they're running to the window for the 1 o'clock slate. What is happening at Circa with their Sharp and their group of investors or bettors is Jeffrey Benson wheels out the card to them, and they can play $1,000 and $2,000 maxes, and they got the board. So if Notre Dame is +2, against Ohio State, and they're just their first 20 guys are hammering Notre Dame. Well, by the time they get their 15 minutes to a half hour window, Notre Dame could be -1. So then, as you're getting ready for NFL 1 o'clock and you're happy that they're being due, Circa's getting ready for their college lines. Okay, so that's what they're going to release to the public. They're not going to release Notre Dame +2. They're going to do Notre Dame -1. So my point in this is, what does public do most of the time? Favorites and overs, favorites and
Right.
overs. It's a correlation. Why am I going to sit and watch a game for 3.5 hours and root for them not to score? I can't do
Yeah.
it.
They want to
And so
watch.
they want to watch, exactly. So in the CFL, we talk about trusting and respecting the opening numbers. So again, you're right. Their following's not big, but once they release their opening numbers, that's when they're getting hit. That's when they're getting adjusted. Now, if you don't think DraftKings isn't listening to this show, both team totals now have been juiced to the under. They are now in red. 26.5 under -120, 23.5. That was now to Montreal, and now 23.5 still over -120 Saskatchewan. So they changed
Montreal
to
now -118, -2.5.
Thank you. They're listening.
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
telling you. They're listening. So again, you almost want to start. We talk about the Elks and that false move. For 23 straight games, they lost at home, but they were quote unquote attracting money. That line kept moving and moving in their favor. So do you follow the steam and get burnt? Or do you make an assessment on your own? So again, the later you wait, study long, study wrong here, Andrew. The later you wait and scratch that itch, most likely 9 out of 10 times you're probably going to be on the wrong side.
This season has been all about trusting your gut, trusting your work, because if you're following steam and not looking at the odds, and like you say, and you've taught me about respecting that opening number, if you're following wherever the number's ending up, you might be following down a wrong set of train tracks, and it might be taking you in the wrong direction. And we've seen that a ton of times. And let's think about the Edmonton Elks when they got their first victory. It almost seemed like everyone gave up on them when they got their first victory, right? It was like they waited for everybody to lose on them for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then they're like, all right, now that you guys all don't believe in us, we're going to win a few games in a row. We'll get to them in a few minutes. And guys, anybody that's watching on X or YouTube, you can comment below. Let us know CFL, MLB, NFL, any games you want us to touch on. But Jeff, I've got 2 props. And with CFL props, I've been keeping it very simple. I go on Football Database. I look to see strengths, weaknesses of certain teams. It's week 11 right now in the CFL. You hear me talk about regression all the time. But when it comes down to it, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And you can look at these numbers here, and we've got the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the number 3 team in the entire league with 79.8 rushing yards allowed per game. And I think that is baked into the number here. Don't get me wrong. But 48.5 is the number for Walter Fletcher for the Alouettes. His number lately has been anywhere between 52.5 and 56.5. I'm going to go under here on that one. It's lower for a reason this week. And I think that this Saskatchewan team, their passing defense has not been great, but their rush defense has been awesome. Each and every week, shutting teams down. Against Ottawa last week, they shut down their run. Even a team like Hamilton, who I know is not very good, they actually are pretty strong in the run. They shut them down. When they played against Calgary, they shut down their run game. The best part to me about Saskatchewan's defense is their run game in the battle of the trenches. So I'm going to look at Walter Fletcher under 48.5, and he's a big key for the Alouettes because they still have, let's keep in mind here, they still have a very young and fresh quarterback behind center. So you need to be able to establish that run game so you're kind of getting less pressure against your QB. But if the run game's not working, Saskatchewan will be able to predict they're going to throw a pass, and that's going to be a lot tougher on Davis Alexander. So under 48.5 for me with Walter Fletcher. And then I do think the under on Davis Alexander, although the books aren't showing it right now, or not every book is. I did see a few books showing it. Cody Fajardo is not going to start. I think the books are worried he might start. I think Davis Alexander is still the guy. Unless there's been rumblings of it today that Cody Fajardo is coming back. I think it's about, I would give it a 30% chance. I think that taking the the over on passing yards for Montreal Alouettes, whether it is Alexander, whether it is Fajardo, they do like to air it out. They are missing Tyson Philpott, which is one of their number one receivers. But this Saskatchewan team, Jeff, you said it best, and then after I heard you say it, every single commentator has been talking about it. The bend don't break style. 288 passing yards allowed per game. This Saskatchewan team, but yet they're only middle of the pack as far as points allowed per game. They pretty much let you walk into the 15, 20-yard line on your own end, and then they start working in their defense, and they make you kick a field goal. If I could bet props on kickers in the CFL, man, I could just take kickers against the Rough Riders. They're very good at forcing teams to take field goals, but as you know, whether it's been with client plays or whether it's been here on shows, I've been very quiet with prop plays, but I do like these two quite a bit.
No, I like where your eyes are there. We've been talking now for a few weeks at least about that, Saskatchewan bend don't break off and defense, excuse me. And again, I watched it for 2 decades with the Patriots when they were at their most success. Hey, they'll allow you to go from 20 to 20. Then they'll just tighten up the defense and they'll allow you to kick field goals because with Sir Tom at the helm, you kick field goals, I score touchdowns. And at the end of the day, we're going to outscore you. And Saskatchewan's had some, good success here. I'm not putting them in the elite here. But again, Friday night, home crowd. I'd like them in this dog spot, and I'm just trying to really sift through. I'm hoping to get some, let's say, plus money, if not even money, on their team total here. We'll see where it wiggles. We got 9 p.m. Eastern, so we got plenty of time before kickoff there. But again, if I had to pick a side here today, I'm hoping to get the flat 3 or obviously the 3.5, which we won't probably get. Maybe the public does push that up to 3. But I think, I like the Saskatchewan side here. I think they're going to be very competitive, and I would not be shocked if they won this game outright.
And the total sitting at 50. Jeff says Saskatchewan wins this one outright. Total sitting at 50 now. And this is, I believe, Jeff, the first week of all the CFL season, all 4 games right now with a total in the 50s. No 40s this week. So whether it's the matchups, whether it's the scoring picking up, all 4 totals in the 50s. The Elks are in action on Saturday. And then, of course, we've got the Bombers and BC Lions with Nate Rourke back at the helm. That is quite the flip. We go from plus 3.5 to minus 2.5. Earlier in the week, I did a show, and I said, you know what? I like to be a contrarian, and I usually will see if it's an overreaction, and I'll bet against that, right? But when it was -1, Jeff, I said on the show I was doing, this isn't enough of an overreaction. I said this should get to 3.5. And look, Rourke hasn't played a ton of football lately. That's the biggest issue here, right? He has not played a ton of football lately. But here's the thing, and you know that I've been pretty tough on backup quarterbacks in the CFL. I've been rough on them. But this is a big difference from De La Gala last week that couldn't complete a pass longer than 20 yards to Nate Rourke with something to prove and, just got off crazy NFL, 4 teams in 3 years, 2 years, whatever it was. And now he's back for a few years, ready to prove something here. It's 2.5 now. I won't be shocked if it gets to the 3, even 3.5. But at -1, Jeff, I still saw value on the favorite. You and I were kind of looking at the Bombers earlier in the week. And I'll tell you what, this is going to be a client play for me. So anybody watching, forget about the side. I think we see points here. I think that the De La Gala being out, I said on your show on Monday, I like the under with De La Gala in. They signed Nate Rourke the next day, and I'm not going to lie. My mind changed. Bombers off a bye. They get more time to work on their offense. I think that the BC Lions are going to be motivated after being shut out. I don't really want to stress who's going to win this game. I just want to bet on some points. What do you think?
I like where you are, and I took it a step further because BC goes next Saturday to Ottawa. Currently, just looking at team totals, 2.5 point favorite there. Obviously, Nate knows the system. I'm not worried about that, but for training with the NFL for the last month, 6 weeks, however long it's been, now to come back to where he's most comfortable, my eyes are more fixated next week in Ottawa than I am here because I'm looking at some team totals here and I can grab some plus money on Winnipeg right now. 24.5 juiced under minus 125. I like Winnipeg, as you said, coming off the bye. Team total over 24.5. I can get that at plus 105 right now. I don't like what I've seen from BC the last couple of weeks. As you said, the shutout and then, the debacle last week. Their defense has been horrific.
Yeah.
It's been horrific. And I think this is, again, Winnipeg rounding back into form, hoping it's a big, big spot. Not that it's not a big spot for BC, don't get me wrong, but I think it's just as big, if not bigger, for Winnipeg, especially, as you said, coming off that bye. I think they're going to score early and often. I'm not going to worry about who wins. I'm just going to worry about them to get to 25 or better at plus 105.
Love it. Love that. Love that. And the thing is, BC could win, right? BC could win 30-27. You could care less, right?
That's
you could
right.
care less. You're happy. You're happy. And that's the thing, is that I don't want to be, and it's a big game for the CFL. It really is, Jeff. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers had been a staple. They've been in the Grey Cup, 3 of the last 4 years, or a handful of straight years in a row. They've won it 2 of the last 4 years, and they've been there, I think, 4 straight years. This is a team that means something to the league. They struggled. They've gotten together a little bit lately. Then they shut out the Lions. Then they get the bye week. And there's actually been players on the Bombers that have said at practice when they were asked, they are happy that Nate Rourke is back in the league because it puts a spotlight on the league. It's good for the league to have talent. It really is. And to your point about the Bombers team total, I just don't want to be watching that game and then watch, Winnipeg go up 10-7 and be like, oh man, I really have to worry about this -2 on BC. I just want points. I just want to see these. And this is what I will say. And this is not an exaggeration. This is not me being, hype about Rourke. He's not coming back to throw checkdowns. No. He's not coming back to make it look easy. He's coming back, I think, with a bang. And I don't think I'm over-exaggerating that. I think that he's coming in ready to make some noise. And the thing is, last week when it was Elks versus Lions, the only thing that worried me about that line was the talented receivers the BC have. But I didn't trust the quarterback, and the defense wasn't good, so the free play was Edmonton first half. But if Rourke can connect with those receivers, we should see some points in this one. We'll keep the next one. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
At Heritage, as we speak, Saskatchewan team total 24 flat under 120. Ooh. Anyone watching and listening that has a Heritage account, you can run to the window right now. Get Saskatchewan team total over 24 at plus 100. So again, we're not laying the juice. If it lands on 24, we'll take the push and we'll move on to Saturday right now. Again, I don't want to lay the 20 cents. If you want to run to the window and go over 23.5 and lay the 20 cents, God bless you. 20 cents is okay. My point is, if you're looking to get a little cute and get them at even money, you can go to Heritage right now. So again, they're listening, Andrew. They're listening.
Shop around, guys. Make sure you shop around. As you mentioned, Jeff's got the spreadsheets open here. We got multiple books, and you might not think it with a sport like the CFL, but I would argue that it's more crucial than ever with a sport like the CFL. The NFL, most books are on the same page, right, Jeff? Yes. More often than not, but CFL, it's more different than any other league, really.
You got your originators, you got your pinnacles of the world. There's a couple originators across the pond. You go to Vegas and the Circa, the South Point, but the majority, 98% of the books, it's a copy and paste league. Once Pinnacle releases, once Jazz releases, and the dust settles, then you'll see 25 sports books all release the same total or the same. It's just a copy and paste. So if you got, we call them square books, or I call them laziness, of course. But if you're looking for originators in the States, just follow along with the Circa. They're the Mecca. Jeffrey Benson is the best in the business. So if you're looking for the real hardcore lines other than Pinnacle and Jazz, go on over to Circa. They'll take good care of you.
Awesome. Yeah, great guys over there. And it's for education as well. So if your state or province or country doesn't offer these books, you can still use these spreadsheets. You can still use these odds boards, Wager Talk Live odds, for reference points. And that's one thing a lot of people don't realize, is that those numbers that are being released can just be educational points for you to realize where these moves are coming from. And I can't bet at Circa. Jeff and I, we're not betting at Circa right now, but we're using them as reference points, and it can really help us. All right, I do want to get some NFL and MLB out of you, so I'm going to ask you a simple question. Do the Elks keep going this week? Because Hamilton's starting Taylor Powell. They're struggling lately. They're on fire, this Edmonton team. And keep in mind, the last time Hamilton played Edmonton in Edmonton, I believe the score was somewhere along the lines as like 42-28 or something like that. So, but it feels too easy. It feels weird. I don't know. Last week was kind of weird too, Jeff, but it's the same old thing. I don't want to bet on Hamilton, that's for sure.
When you get two high octane offenses, and listen, this isn't the Kansas City Chiefs versus Joe Burrow and the Bengals here, but my point is, especially in the CFL, you see this a lot. You get two teams that you're expecting a lot of up and down, and a lot of score, and you go back to that Hamilton Edmonton game. I think Hamilton was up like 42-13, and Edmonton got a couple garbage touchdowns late. I think that's when Trey Ford came in the second half, and he got those late third and fourth quarter touchdowns there. So again, when we just say, I don't really have a side here, I'm just going to bet the over. And then as we were talking about Saskatchewan, the bend don't break. When you bet overs, you need touchdowns, especially in the 50s. So field goals don't pay the bills here. So again, I would be very, very careful here. You can talk yourself into Edmonton's 1-2 in a row. Great revenge spot. As you said, it looks a little too easy. Team totals 26.5 over, minus 25 cents for Edmonton, 25.5 over for Hamilton right now. So I don't have a good feel either side here. If you said, Jeff, who wins the game, I'm going to root for Edmonton to get their 3-game winning streak. Then we can get the duck boats and the parades and everything else going for the Elks. How's that?
I love it. Shout out to Sean Alvarez tuning in with us. He'll be talking some ponies in no time with you, Jeff. He says hashtag kicking is for losers. And that's the thing. We talked about that. Some of these teams in the CFL, Sean, they let you get to their own end, and then they'll force you to kick that field goal. Yeah, it's weird. Jeff, point blank, I think anybody that likes Hamilton should bet the over. If you like Hamilton, bet the over. If you like Edmonton, I think you could probably get a decent live spot. But when it comes down to it, Bo Levi Mitchell, his arm is shot. But I don't want to take up too much time. We're deep into the show, but I got to mention this. The coach benching a player directly after the game, do you like it or do you not like it? Is it a statement for the locker room? Is it a publicity stunt? Not sure what it is exactly, but he came out right away to the media and said, Taylor Powell's starting. Like, if that was Bill Belichick or if that was some other coach in the NFL, they would say, well, we're going to see who's starting. It's almost like he was pissed off at his quarterback. He ran to the media to tell everybody else he's not playing next week. What do you think about that?
I think it's more PR, looking for a fall guy, maybe starting to feel a little of the hot seat. Things aren't working out. It's so easy to turn to a quarterback. He's the general. He's the floor general. He makes the offense stick. It's like everyone screaming and hollering because you lost the game because of a missed field goal or a missed extra point. Well, there was 59 minutes and 38 seconds of other plays that led up to that, and you probably can go back 5 6 7. We always remember the bad beats. You go 13-1 your last 14, and everyone brings up the Royals yesterday. They don't remember the walk-off from Wyatt Langford, yada yada yada. So that's how we're wired. That's what we do. So again, I think it's a more of a PR scapegoat looking for someone, and if you're gonna pull that stunt, you better make sure that your team's ready this week, because the joke's on you. If you wheel in someone else and you spit the bit and you lay another egg, now who are you going to turn to?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that Taylor Powell's a guy that in my opinion, Jeff, everybody looks good when they come in as a backup, right? If the starter looks shitty, then you can come in and just do anything at all, and you'll look better than the guy you came in for, right? Like, as long as you don't come in and throw 3 interceptions, you're going to look better than the guy you just came in for. And so now Taylor Powell isn't coming in as a substitution. He's coming in as the guy. He's the starting guy. So it's a little bit different coming in as the sub than actually coming in as the starter. All right, real quick, MLB board. You've been crushing the team totals. You and I both got bit by the KC Royals yesterday. Of course, they easily win the game. Of course, they win the first 5, and they don't get us one more for that team total. So that adds a 1 to both of our records over the last handful of days here. But decent board here on a Friday. Is there anything you can give out for the viewers? We got to give a shout out to Football Jesus. You guys do a great job. Good information weekly. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Please hit the like button for us. Show us some love there. We're here every single Friday, whether it's at 11 a.m. Eastern or 3 p.m. Eastern. We're here every single week. Jeff, anything you can give the viewers for baseball?
Yeah, give me 1 second here. I just flipped over to our team total page for you here. I'm looking in bases right now. Kind of, not easy on the palate. San Diego travels to Colorado. I can tell you this, there's been a lot of past history success for the Padres, putting up boatloads of runs. It's an under-over of 11, Waldron versus Quantrill. But here's the carrot on top. I'm not running to the window to bet the Padres minus 180 or get cute here. I got a team total 6.5 juiced under minus 125. And everyone's like, oh, my God, Jeff, are you kidding me? I'm going to get plus money on the Padres today. Yeah, they got to score a touchdown, and they need the extra point. And with the 2-point conversion, I like to say, it's just a bonus. So I like the Padres to get to 7 or better today in Colorado. Other than the Diamondbacks, there's not any two hotter teams in the National League than these two. They've had great success in Colorado in the past. So I'm going to get plus money. San Diego Padres team total over 6.5 plus 105.
Touchdown plus the extra point. Look for some runs there, man. That'll be a fun game to watch when you're looking for that many runs. Team total over 6.5. And guys, it might sound crazy to ask for that many runs, but when the total is 11 in that one and the number is minus 180, as Jeff said, that's the best way to go about it. Get that plus money and try and find yourself value on those games, because long term, the amount of games you have to win above 500 is a little bit different when you're laying 120, you're laying 150, laying 180. My MLB card will be out a little bit later. I will tell you, how funny is my Jays right now, Jeff? Because just when everybody starts to hate them and they're screwing over the fan base, they're making it a little bit more fun to watch. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr., of course, having just an unbelievable year, the way he turned things around. I was able to cash a 5% big bet the other day, and it came down kind of to the 9th inning, ended up going over by a few runs, but we always say it takes 2 to tango, and that's why you're a team totals guy, because it takes 2 to tango with these overs. And fortunately, the Jays actually got over that total on their own for me. But switching over really quick to the NFL, a handful of games this week. to look at in NFL X. It's week 2 of NFL X action. We've got a handful of games on Saturday and then 2 games on Sunday. I will tell you guys that Commanders +5 is going to be on my betting card. I'm going to go back to the Commanders. I did lose with them in week 1, but I'm not going to be worried to go back on this team again. Sometimes it's going to be about the teams that can still be throwing out their starters in week 2, that can still be kind of giving it everything they have and how much they care about winning. I think that they do care about this. There is some battling. There is some competition. There is some depth there. Even though they're playing against the Dolphins team that's playing at home, I think the Commanders can hang around. +5, I do like the Commanders in that spot. Buffalo Bills and Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of people think that in week 2 of the preseason, the scoring starts to pick up. Well, I think that's one where the scoring will pick up, Jeff. I think over 37.5 is a good bet, Bills versus Steelers. And I'll tell you, I think where's the other one that I liked here? There we go. Texans. I think Texans are a good play at home versus the Giants. Those are 3 plays that I like, and we'll see if anything else comes out. But that Commanders one +5. It's kind of like a fool me once instead of fool me twice type of thing here, Jeff. We'll see if they can fool me again this week, but a few plays that I like. What about you?
You know, the big moves, I think, after yesterday's big move on the Patriots, I think have now gone to like 1-9. We talked about that on our show, and we've talked at length. I'm a big fan of the big moves. Keep an eye on those. Don't forget, a lot of these teams have played joint practices throughout the week, and now this preseason game is just a formality. And so I'm looking at some moves. I'm looking at some numbers that kind of really smell to me. Where was it? Seattle at Tennessee. Tennessee opened up 2.5. Now it's a pick 'em in some spots. Keep an eye on Seattle at Tennessee at a pick there. There was Rams opened up -1. Now Chargers -2. So keep an eye on the Chargers there. But I'm going to go to 2 big moves at 10 o'clock. Dallas and the Vegas Raiders. Vegas opened up -3.5, now 6.5. Keep an eye on Vegas -6 or better. And the stench of the weekend. Here it is.
Here we go.
Run to the window on Sunday here. New Orleans with check down Charlie, Derek Carr, and Tatum O'Neal, which I'm being kind of comical here. But my point is, New Orleans at San Fran. San Fran opened up at 2.5. You can get New Orleans as much as +1, if not a pick. Keep an eye on the Saints there. And another big move is your Packers traveling to Denver. Denver opened up at 3.5. Now Denver's a flat 7 here. Packers played the Browns last week and now travel to Denver. So
they won out last week, and then everyone wants to bet against them again. So curious to see. Yeah. I think there was just no belief, Jeff, in the backups for the Packers. Everybody's like, yeah, their starters are pretty good. They had a great run last year, but it seemed like the whole world just did not like the backups for the Packers. That seemed what happened last week.
And I'm just going to go, as we were speaking here, and I love the thought process. No one believed and they don't believe again. And here's a Carolina team playing at home this week against the Jets. And one of our losses over the weekend for Pizza and Beer was going against the Jets. And, of course, what was the theme last week? Walk-off field goals. Well, the Jets walked off the Commanders, as you talked about. Well, now no one believes again in the Jets. There is some money now trickling back on the Jets. So if you see the Jets go to a 1.5, 2-point favorites at Carolina, don't be afraid to come back with Carolina this weekend as well. So if you were on a side last week and the numbers going your way, don't be afraid again to, I don't want to say double down, but double back and keep an eye on it. That's all.
Last question before we head out, because I really wanted to mention that. Do you think that people can have success, Jeff, waiting for an over-exaggerated move, like you said? And you've talked about the success. Yeah, I agree with you. It's like 1-9 or 2-9, something like that. Do you think that people can wait to look at, obviously if you can get a middle, and that's amazing. Who doesn't love a good middle? But sometimes these teams are -6.5 for a reason. Like last week with the Patriots, right? Like who's going to bet the Patriots in the regular season -6.5? Never. They're not favorites in any game all year. But do you feel like if you see a team that's been steamed up like 5 or 6 points, that it could be worth it to go the other way, or it's one of those stay away spots? Because I sometimes in the preseason, I'm like, you know what? I challenge this team to beat that team by 7 points, despite all the information floating around out there.
The preseason quote unquote sharps is all based on information. Okay, it's who's your sources are, who's going to play. Like you see a couple big moves here, and you might say, hey, I just got wind that Josh Allen is not just playing the first quarter, he's going to play the second quarter as well. So you see the big move on the Bills. And I'm just making that up, guys. So,
yeah.
But my point is,
we'll hold you to it. We'll hold you to it.
Yeah. So you start to see information like that. Detroit and Kansas City. Don't forget Detroit last year. Regular season, first game of the year, on Thursday night, walked into Kansas City, not only covered, but won outright. So you see a flat 7 here on Kansas City. Everyone's thinking, oh, geez, Patrick Mahomes supposed to be playing at least the first half. Great revenge spot. It's the preseason, guys. So, it's really, really tough. I always say, pizza and beer money, trust your gut, trust your eyes, but just remember again, it's preseason. And so your source said that, again, Josh Allen's playing 2 quarters. Well, after the first quarter, they had seen enough. Hey, Josh, go grab a clipboard, grab a Gatorade. So
yeah.
they went in with good intention, and like Drake May was going to see a ton of looks. Well, Jacoby got the first 2 starts. Drake plays the second quarter, gets the touchdown before the end of the half, and the Patriots had said, seen enough, versus, hey, why don't you start the first series in the second half and start to get into that flow. But they said, we saw enough, let's end on a good note. Mm-hmm.
That's why, maybe first half overs could potentially be a better play in the preseason than full game overs. You might be seeing more of the real guys in the first half, and then some of the guys that you might not be able to trust as much in the third and fourth quarter. Could be an idea out there for everybody watching. All right, Jeff, I've kept you long enough. I appreciate you being here this entire time. You know that I love talking CFL, and I love how much you've gotten into it with me the past few years. Hopefully we can make some money tonight with those team totals. We can make some money throughout the weekend. And let's cash that MLB team total. Man, I love when you give me a 5.5 or a 6.5 to the over. I love it. I just love it. It's a lot of runs, but we have a good success rate there with that. What do you have going on this weekend with your clients, with the viewers over at ECSI?
Go to our website at eastcoastsportsinvestors.com. Top right corner, plans and pricing. The song remains the same as Led Zeppelin once sang. We have what we call as the ECSI Welcome and Gym membership. For $3 a day, all our plays, all our selections are sent to your cell phone via text and emailed. Andrew gets them every day. No timestamp. So if you want to join today and say, when do I get my plays? You get your plays when I get my plays. Meaning, we're waiting for the sharpest numbers. We're waiting for moves. We're waiting for sources. We follow over 50 sports books all across the land. We've got guys in Vegas. We got guys everywhere. But the point is, we read the market. We're your sports broker. So if you go to invest in the stock market, or you're a day trader or crypto or whatever, we do that for you in the sports market. We're on an incredible heater in the MLB, and we're an incredible heater our last 46 games overall. We got 2 weeks to the end of August, then we start in football. If anyone wants to ask a question or two, you can follow me on EC Sports Invest. I'll follow you back. I'll DM you, or you can send me an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. I can work out something for $99 a month. Come in, pay for September, October, November, and December, and I'll give you January and February through the Super Bowl for free. I'll work with you if you want to work with me.
Very humble, very classy, and, well, in this industry, it's about results, and you are winning right now, Jeff. Guys, make sure if you want to check them out, go to the website, East Coast Sports Investors, or just watch the videos. Tune in. Doing so many shows every single day over on Jeff's network. Okay, guys, It's been a great week. It's been a great month of August. We're up around 27 units. Of course, that's on a 1 to 5 unit scale in August. Been needing a month like this, Jeff. Been needing one, but a lot of pressure on tonight's play, and I'm excited for it. Looking to make it 8 straight tonight in the CFL. Let's cash this ticket, guys. Join me on that. But when I'm checking my sales report tonight, I want to see you guys buying that 7-day packs. Don't buy the play. Buy the 7-day. It's just such a crazy deal. I mean, $35 for the play alone, $69 for 7 days of all plays. It does not make sense. I know you guys are all still going to do it, but don't buy the one play alone. Buy the full thing. You're saving $30, $69 for every single play. UFC, MLB, CFL, and much more. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully we gave you guys some winners today. Make sure you follow us both on X, Jeff at EC Sports Invest. I think he has it pulled up. We'll get that right there. There we go, at EC Sports Invest. Guys, take care. We'll see you next time on the McInnis Pick Show.